Search for Appalachia on social media, and you will find an endless stream of warnings about the deep woods. Viral videos claim that feral humans and supernatural cannibals are snatching hikers directly from the trails. This chart shows a more grounded reality. It tracks the annual search and rescue operations in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, a region that requires roughly 100 emergency deployments every year. While most operations find their target, some leave behind a total void. In cases like 7-year-old Dennis Martin or high schooler Trenny Gibson, massive searches involving the FBI and Green Berets recovered absolutely no physical evidence. Human nature abhors a vacuum of information. When investigators find nothing, folklore fills the space, allowing monsters to explain how a person could leave no trace behind. Stripping away the internet mythology reveals a clear earthly pattern. The mechanics of the mountains explain exactly how people vanish. The first variable is the Appalachian topography. The landscape acts as a physical antagonist that actively blinds search efforts from the moment they begin. Robert Kovac was 24 when his car was found abandoned near the New River Gorge in 1998. Despite multi-agency searches using helicopters and cadaver dogs, his remains went undiscovered for 18 years. Kovac remained hidden because of the terrain shown here. Thick rhododendron bushes and dense, overlapping vegetation swallow human remains just yards away from marked trails. Weather systems also work to scrub the timeline. After Derek Luking and Trenny Gibson disappeared, heavy rains washed away scent trails before tracking dogs could even arrive on site. Man-made voids create a secondary hazard. Abandoned copper mines like Eagle Creek and Sugar Fork contain miles of unstable shafts, lethal drops that are effectively unsearchable. Appalachian terrain and weather work in tandem to actively erase the physical timeline of a tragedy. Beyond the physical environment, we have to look at the internal state of the missing. Not every person who enters these woods is an unwilling victim of the trees. Derek Luking spent over $1,000 on extreme survival gear, drove to the newfound Gap parking area, and then left all of his equipment in his car, alongside a note reading, "Don't try to follow me." In 1981, Polly Melton was hiking with friends while suffering from severe grief and depression. She purposefully walked ahead of her group, rounded a hill out of view, and vanished without a trace. A compromised mental state, whether leading to an intentional disappearance or a fatal lapse in judgment, remains a consistent variable in cases that lack a clear geographic explanation. The wild man myth has its own earthly origin. It grew from sightings of Civil War deserters and draft dodgers who fled into the deepest hollows to live beyond the reach of the law. Extreme generational poverty and geographic barriers led to the development of self-sufficient island communities, entirely cut off from the services of modern society for decades. These isolated communities represent the reality of generational poverty. Real people facing human struggles that exist entirely outside of supernatural lore. When violence does occur in the mountains, it is ordinary and human. Nancy Lockhart and Crystal Hall were both mothers who disappeared under suspicious circumstances in 2009. Cases where foul play is suspected, but no evidence has ever been found. Earthly crimes find a perfect accomplice in the isolation of the wilderness. In a landscape this vast, a violent act can easily occur entirely unnoticed. Sensational rumors of feral monsters only serve to obscure the reality of human vulnerability and the cruelty of mundane crime. The true danger of Appalachia lies at the intersection of human vulnerability and a vast, historically isolated landscape. Transforming these missing persons cases into spooky internet lore disrespects the victims and the families left with no answers. Stripping away the mythical monsters forces us to confront a more terrifying truth: the uncompromising indifference of the wild. The reality of an Appalachian disappearance is a byproduct of isolation, psychology, and geography, a silence created by the cold mechanics of the natural world.